Oh, buckle up, because the Markle family drama has just gone from messy to downright explosive. Picture this: a Florida courtroom buzzing with whispers, cameras flashing outside, and Meghan Markle's name being dragged through the mud once again. Yes, Meghan, the Hollywood starlet turned royal duchess, thought she had left her messy past far behind, wrapped neatly in palace walls and Netflix deals. But her half-sister Samantha Markle? She's refusing to stay silent. And their father, Thomas Markle? He's reportedly ready to march right into court and testify against his very own daughter. Can you believe it? Meghan's own family, the ones she once dismissed as toxic and irrelevant, are now threatening to shatter the glossy image she spent years polishing. This whole chaos didn't just pop out of nowhere. Remember Meghan's glowing Oprah interview? The one where she painted her life story like a tragic fairy tale? The castles, the cruelty, the struggles, and oh yes, the claim that she grew up as an only child. That one line may have seemed harmless at the time, but to Samantha Markle, it was like a dagger through the heart. Because let's be clear, Meghan wasn't an only child. She had Samantha and Thomas Jr., both very real, very alive, and now very angry at being erased from her story. Samantha's not just upset, she's furious. She believes Meghan deliberately rewrote history and the world lapped it up like tea. And that single narrative choice? That's the core of Samantha's defamation lawsuit. Samantha isn't just throwing tantrums for headlines. Oh no, she says Meghan's lies cost her 7 years of her life. 7 years of being branded crazy, obsessed, and even dangerous. Thanks to media spin, Samantha claims she was once even falsely linked to a fixated persons list in the UK, as if she were some kind of stalker. Imagine that. She had to go all the way to Scotland Yard just to prove it wasn't true. But by the time the correction came, the damage was already done. Headlines had already screamed the lie, and people looked at her like she was some kind of criminal. And here's the kicker. While Samantha was battling for her reputation, Meghan was gracing glossy covers, securing Netflix deals, and hiring top-tier PR firms to control every syllable of her public image. Samantha calls it character assassination. And in her mind, Meghan knew exactly what she was doing. But Samantha's fury doesn't stop at the Oprah debacle. She's pointing fingers at what she calls Meghan's pattern of using people and then discarding them like gum on a shoe. Her ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, allegedly said exactly that being dumped by Meghan was like being scraped off. Brutal, right? And then there's Jessica Mulroney, Meghan's once inseparable best friend. The moment Jessica faced controversy, Meghan went radio silent. No defense, no support, nothing. Jessica's downfall was quick, and Samantha insists it was no accident. To Samantha, Meghan's behavior isn't coincidence. It's a cycle. And if Meghan could erase her own father and siblings, what chance does anyone else have? And now we come to the heartbreaker, Thomas Markle. The man who once stood proudly in Meghan's corner, working tirelessly to fund her dance lessons, acting classes, and private schooling. The man who opened doors she never would have walked through without him. And yet, in Meghan's glittering narrative, he barely exists, or worse, he's painted as a villain. Now imagine this: Thomas Markle, still recovering from a stroke, living quietly in the Philippines, suddenly deciding he's ready to testify against his daughter. For Samantha, that's the ultimate vindication. For Meghan, it's the nightmare she's been dreading. Because if Thomas takes the stand and tells his side, it won't just be courtroom testimony. It'll be a bombshell dropped right in the middle of Meghan's carefully curated image. Let's be real here. The court may only look at legal arguments, but the world? The world is watching something far juicier, a war of perception. Meghan's defenders say she's just protecting herself from toxic relatives who won't let her go, but Samantha insists she's not chasing money, fame, or revenge. What she wants is simple: her name back, her reputation restored, her truth heard. She's sick of being painted as the villain in Meghan's fairy tale, sick of being erased, and she says this time she won't back down. And now, with Thomas Markle reportedly preparing to speak, things are reaching fever pitch. It's no longer just Samantha versus Meghan, it's a full-blown family war. And let's not forget, Samantha has lawyer Peter Tickton in her corner, a man who isn't afraid of high-profile battles. Meghan may have her PR armies, but Samantha? She's got grit, rage, and a father willing to take the stand despite his health. The stakes? Meghan's entire reputation. Samantha Markle is done being quiet. For years, she says she was told to just ignore it, to move on, while her reputation was shredded across headlines. Fake news stories spread like wildfire, articles copying and pasting lies until they were cemented as fact. She recalls walking into ordinary places, like a doctor's office, only to feel eyes burning into her as if she were some obsessed stalker. She says her life became a cage built from false headlines. Meanwhile, Meghan, she had the privilege of silence. She didn't need to clap back. Her PR teams, Netflix documentaries, and royal narrative did all the heavy lifting for her. Samantha paints the picture simply. Meghan had all the power, and she had none. And now she's demanding the world finally hear her side without filters, without spin, and without being dismissed before she even opens her mouth. Let's talk strategy. Meghan Markle, for all her glitter and smiles, has played the PR game like a seasoned pro. While Samantha insists Meghan orchestrated smear campaigns, Meghan never directly dirtied her hands. Think about it. Meghan doesn't usually clap back herself. Instead, her allies and carefully placed sources do it for her. They drop the quotes, leak the stories, shape the narrative, while Meghan stays polished, serene, and above the fray. But Samantha isn't buying the innocent Duchess act. She believes Meghan has carefully built a machine that crushes anyone who dares contradict her story. She has the power. I don't, Samantha once said, cutting straight to the heart of the imbalance. Samantha isn't just warning Meghan's family, she's warning Meghan's friends. She points to names like Chrissy Teigen and Jamie Kern-Lima, people who are currently in Meghan's circle, and wonders, do they realize what they're dealing with? Because if Meghan could allegedly erase her own father from her narrative, what makes them think they're safe? And then there's the chilling example of Jessica Mulroney. Once Meghan's closest friend, Jessica's entire public image imploded after a controversy. Meghan, instead of standing by her, reportedly iced her out. Silence, distance, betrayal. Samantha calls it a pattern, one that no one should ignore. Here's where things get even more dramatic. Samantha insists the media was complicit in the Markle erasure. In the early days of Meghan's royal life, Samantha says it was like a spell had been cast. The press adored Meghan's Cinderella story, an American actress marrying a prince, a fresh face breaking centuries of tradition. Who wanted to hear messy family stories when they had a fairy tale to sell? So, according to Samantha, the press bulldozed anyone who tried to correct the record. When she spoke, she was called bitter. When Thomas spoke, he was called toxic. Even when she produced legal proof, like the Scotland Yard letter clearing her from that fixated person lie, no one wanted to print it. It didn't fit the narrative. It wasn't clicky enough. And now, the fairy tale gloss is cracking. The lawsuit is alive again, and a trial looms on the horizon in Jacksonville, Florida. For Meghan, this is a nightmare scenario. Behind the scenes, sources whisper she's fuming, furious that Samantha won't let it go, frustrated that the past keeps dragging her back. But for Samantha, this isn't about clinging to the past. It's about finally being heard, finally forcing the world to stop asking, why won't she just go away, and start asking, what was actually done to her? The courtroom, in Samantha's eyes, is her chance to stand tall and put the evidence on the table for all to see. Not filtered through tabloids, not drowned in PR, raw, unedited truth. Make no mistake, this isn't just about a lawsuit. It's about Meghan's legacy. She's worked relentlessly to rebuild her image after stepping down as a senior royal. With Spotify, Netflix, and brand deals, she's pushing a polished, progressive persona. But every time her name gets dragged back into Markle family drama, that image takes a hit. If Thomas Markle really does testify, the damage could be catastrophic. Think about it. The father who once paid for her acting classes and cheered her on, standing in court to contradict the daughter who now acts like he barely existed. That's not just a legal complication, that's a PR bloodbath. And here's the twist. Samantha isn't putting her whole life on this feud. She says whether she wins or loses in court, she's reclaiming her identity beyond Meghan. She's working on a second book. She's dusting off old scripts and screenplays, ready to push projects that have nothing to do with royal drama. She refuses to let her life story be defined entirely by her famous sister. But she knows the scars are still there. Google her name, and the old lies still pop up. Strangers still whisper. Online trolls still bite. She even joked she might need Elon Musk's help to clean up the internet. But beneath the sarcasm is real exhaustion. Because the truth is, she doesn't just want to move on. She wants her stolen life back. When you peel back the gossip, Samantha's pain is raw. Whether people agree with her or not, you can't deny the weight of her words. This isn't just about sibling rivalry, it's about the cost of speaking up against someone with immense power, influence, and a global spotlight. While Meghan wears the crown of global celebrity, Samantha's been shackled with headlines she never wrote, reputations she never deserved, and years she can't get back. She says it best herself. It's not about revenge, it's about truth. So what's next in this royal soap opera? If Samantha gets her day in court, the world may finally be forced to listen. The glossy narrative could shatter. And Meghan, she might have to face questions the press once refused to ask. But even if the legal system doesn't give Samantha the victory she craves, one thing is certain. She's not fading quietly into the background. She's reclaiming her voice, her story, and her dignity, even if it means burning bridges forever. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about royalty or revenge. It's about what happens when someone with no power dares to challenge someone who has it all. And the world? Oh, the world is finally watching. So here we are, Meghan Markle, the Duchess who built her brand on fairy tales, now facing the ugliest kind of reality. Her own family ready to expose the chapters she tried to erase. Samantha's war cry is echoing. Thomas is preparing to speak. And Meghan? She's scrambling to keep her empire from crumbling under the weight of the truth. One thing's for sure. This isn't just another family feud. This is the Markle Civil War, and it's only getting started. It's only getting started.